My name is Lionel Hunterman. I work here at BackBox, and today we're going to be talking about automating compliance assurance and remediation with BackBox. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Quick update on introduction. Again, Lionel Hunterman. I'm a senior support engineer here at BackBox. I've been with the company about 7 months, and we're joined today by Hanuch Marmorstein, who's the director of product management here at BackBox. So if you're unfamiliar with BackBox, we've been around since about 2011. We're best known for our automated backup and restore capabilities, but we can also automate any task that you could execute directly from the back end of a device. Customers also use us for disaster recovery, asset management, task automation. That's from simple things like changing passwords to more complex tasks like upgrading to the latest OS with pre-checks and post-checks happening along the way during the upgrade. Customers also use us for patch management, as well as one of the things you can use us for is compliance, assurance, and remediation through the use of IntelliChecks. And this is what we're going to talk to you about today. So we chose the Cis Benchmarks to show you because they are so useful. We can go out, scan your network, not only show you where your config is out of compliance, but also show you how to remediate this to get your devices back into compliance. So today, Hanuch will be showing us how to use BackBox IntelliCheck signatures and run compliance checks on a few devices in our lab. He's also going to show us some of the results reports without remediation and one with successful remediation. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Hanuch. After you, sir.
Thanks, Lionel. Thanks for the great introduction. So let's jump right in. Anybody that have any questions, you can type it in the chat box, and we'll have like 5-10 minutes in the end of the presentation and in the end of the demo to answer any questions that you have. So please, please ask anything that comes into your mind. So for anybody that doesn't know BackBox, BackBox is an intelligent automation tool. We will concentrate today on automating compliance and remediation. Always when talking with prospects and with customers about what we can do in the IntelliChecks in compliance, I always divide between what I call internal compliance and external compliance. Internal compliance for me and for customers is a compliance that the company said that needs to be. For example, IT team want all the devices in their network to have an NTP server for a specific IP address, and they want all their Cisco devices, all their checkpoint devices, you know, any devices that they have, firewalls, routers, load balancers, IPS devices, whatever they have in their network, to have the same NTP server. And that's, of course, requires time, manual logging into each one of those devices and typing in the right commands. But also, it's hard for us to say if we have 100 devices, 500 devices, 1,000 devices in the network, what devices are, you know, going with our compliant now and have the internal NTP server address, and what devices are not. And it's, you know, it's reporting and something that we want to show. External compliance is what I will show today. And this is one example of those is CIS, but it can be PCI, it can be HIPAA, it can be any compliance, external compliance company, and signatures that we would like to run on our devices. It can be someone like, you know, PCI that I need to comply to because I'm on the financial market and I need to show someone a report that all the devices in the network have, for example, strong passwords, password complexity, and have, you know, security audits. It can be for an outside advisor that want to see best practices that was running on our devices and so on. So it's very hard for us to go and collect this information manually. And as everything we do in BackBox, we automate these procedures. For the ones that do not know BackBox, we automate those manual administration procedures. So it doesn't matter if it's a backup procedure, if it's something that I want to configure like a password on all my devices, the same password or a new password, if it's something that I would like to upgrade my devices and so on. Each one of those takes time, takes knowledge, because I need to log in into the device, know the commands to do it, and then do whatever I want. But the same is for the IntelliChecks, our feature and the compliance assurance. So here I need to go into the device, type in commands, and see the results. And if the results matching what I expect, the device is compliant. If not, it's not compliant. So what BackBox is doing is taking those manual procedures and doing kind of a script. In the background, you will see I will create today what we call remediation, a simple remediation. And that's what you would have done manually, going into the device, typing the commands that you need, and executing them. So that's exactly what BackBox is doing in the background. So let's start to show some of the things that we can do with CIS. So CIS, for anybody that, for all the people that don't know, is a very good benchmarking, and they have very good benchmarking for, for a lot of devices and vendors. So it can be Cisco devices, Cisco iOS, iOS XE, iOS XR. It can be Checkpoint devices. It can be Palo Alto, F5, Juniper. You can go to the website, and in the end, what they tell you is we went over all the configuration in Cisco iOS, for example, and that's what we are saying you should have or you should check to know that you are, good, you have best practices, good security, good operational compliance on your devices, and so on. So if I just downloaded here for an example, the CIS Cisco iOS 15 benchmark, and in it you will see a lot of things that you need to go. There are about 100 checks that they advise you to do. Just for an example, if I want to go now and check, you see that they are telling me, what I need to check, like enable AAA new model on the device. What is the rationale about it? What is the impact, and how do I audit this? Okay, how do I see if I'm compliant or not? And in the end, they also tell you what is the remediation. So that's exactly what we want to do automatically. That's exactly what we want to go. And BackBox will help us go check first if we are, audit first if we are compliant or not. And in the end, we will also be able to activate remediation to fix the problem if, we are not compliant to this specific check. So for this demo I prepared, you can see that we have IntelliCheck signatures. I can filter out all the CIS benchmark that we have predefined in BackBox. And what I would like to do first, just to understand how it looks on the background. Second, sorry, let me filter what I need. So in the background, what I see is, it's not opening, sorry. Disconnected, some network issues. See, it came back. So if I'll go here and filter out demo, I don't want to go too much into it, but in the end, you can see that I'm running commands on the devices. I can put remediation, and what I can do is say this signature that I'm writing I can apply it to any, to Cisco devices, to checkpoint devices, to whatever devices that I want. But that's how signature will look. And I will, in the end, will build a quick remediation to understand, for you to understand how easy it is to go and, build or customize remediation to solve problems in your network configuration. So the first thing that you will need to do when you want to check if your devices are compliant or not is build an IntelliCheck group. IntelliCheck group means that I want to take signatures. Let's say I have 100 CIS signatures. I want to create a group from them, and I will call them CIS signatures or CIS checks, and then I can use them, this group, to run on the devices. So what I will do now is create a new group, call it CIS test, for example. Okay. And I will see all my available signatures. I will filter out the 5 signatures that I want to show now and save them. Okay, so I saved the group. This group is called CIS test and currently includes 5 signatures that I want to run on my devices. The next thing that I would want to do is to create a job. So a job means that I would like to take some of those signatures, run them on the devices. Let me show you. So I will add a job. First of all, I need to give it a name. So let's test. Let's do it as the IntelliCheck group. I can put a description, something like check for CIS signatures, and choose IntelliCheck group. So I'll go and choose the right group, the CIS test that I just created. You will see here remediation problem. That means that if I have a built-in remediation for the checks that I would like to run now, it means that if BackBox discovers that something is not according compliance, I can automatically remediate it. Okay, I will do it later because I want to show the first report that you will get, but I can activate remediation. I can also schedule this. It means that I can run it now, but I can also run it like every week and the weekend, or every day at 12 a.m. or something like this. So I can put a schedule for it. And also I can put notification. Notification means that in the end of the job, I would like to get a notification. Notification can be email, can be syslog, SNMP, HTTP like Slack or something like this, that will go and in the end of the job will tell me what are the results. Okay, there is another way to see the result, and that's in a report, and I will show it in a report. But basically, you can run it on a schedule and get your notifications to email. A lot of users are using email or any SIM server that can get your syslog or SNMP messages. There is also some more things that you can run, notify only on signature status changes. So a lot of customers told us, only if something has changed, if I run it every day and it's the same, so don't alert me, but if there is a change, alert me. Okay, so that's also a possibility. But let's move on. Available devices, I will run those signatures on 2 devices. We'll save the job and then run it. So what happens now is that I run it on 2 devices. BackBox is actually going for each one of those signatures. You can see that I will run those signatures on 2 devices. I have a router, a Cisco router with iOS image, and I have a Cisco switch with iOS image. And what happens is that BackBox open just one connection to the device. I'm not opening, let's say I have 5 signatures here or 100 signatures here. I'm not opening 100 connections to the device. What I'm doing is opening one connection to the device and running the list of checks, the list of compliance that I would like to run on my devices. So in this way, we are saving, connections and network traffic. We are using one connection to check any number of signatures, of IntelliCheck signatures on the devices. So you will see that I've got results to 4 out of 5 checks that I was running on the device. Let's wait for the last one. And let's see what happens. So first of all, I can look at the history. Let's filter out the relevant job. I can see 10, list of 10 items. I see a list of 10 items because I run it on 2 devices, 5 signatures on 2 devices, so 10 items. I can see that most of them got green status, but some of them got red status. For example, for the signature that is called HTTP Secure Server Limit, I got no maximum connections set. And NTP source to loopback interface, NTP service is not binded to the loopback interface. Let's look at a good one. What we do in BackBox, first of all, we do not hide anything. So you can see exactly the commands that we were running on the device very clearly. Let's see some of those. For example, set logging enable. Okay, so if I'll open this, I will see a very simple connection to the device. Here, I actually don't see the connection because I'm already connected to the router. What I said is that we open one session and then all the commands are running in the same session. But what you can see is one command that was running on the device, show running config, including login enable. You can see that I got a result, login is enabled, and that's why the session result was success, and I am compliant in this specific signature. If I will go to a non-compliant signature, let's say something like this, I can see that I was doing show running, including IP HTTP maximum connections. I got an empty result, and that's why in the trail log, I got a status that is saying no maximum connection set to this device, okay? Now, let's say I want to go to the management and say, listen, this is the result, right? I was running 5 signatures of 100 devices or 100 signatures and compliance checks on 2 devices. It doesn't matter. In the end, you would like to get a report to your management. So what I can do in BackBox, we have a report system where I can go and add type of report. Let's call this CIS test. Okay, in the report type, I have a few types of report that I can check. IntelliCheck by device. So that's the first one. This is the report type, the IntelliCheck job that was running, the CIS test, and what are the devices that I would like to see the results for. So this is the first one, and this is the second one. I can save this and then open the report. So in this report, I can see IntelliChecks by device. I see the devices, and I see all the IntelliCheck signatures, all the compliance signatures that was running on the devices. Okay, I can see 5 signatures that are saying 3 of them was successful. What are the signatures name, and what is the reason that this specific signature was failing? So in this, HTTP secure server limit is not set, and NTP source to loopback interface is not set. Okay, the same if I'll go for this. Okay, so the same, 3 of those were successful and 2 of those were failing. Let's go and see another type of report. IntelliCheck by signature. So in this type of report, it's basically the same, but here, instead of grouping it by devices, I group it by signatures, okay? So I want to see this specific signature for all the devices that it was running for, okay? So if I go here and look at this, I'll see that it was running on 2 devices and the result. Here, on the devices and the results, okay? And the last report that you can bring to your management is failed. And a lot of customers said, I don't want to see the successful one. I want to see only the failed signatures, the compliance failed, the failed compliance that was running on the devices. So here you filter out the good, the successful, and you see only the failed. So those are the reports. This specific report can be downloaded for Excel spreadsheet or can be downloaded as an HTML file. Okay, and then you can send it. So those are the options that you have. Okay, so we've ran 5 signatures on my devices. Now I would like to run a job, a specific job with a signature that will remediate the problem. Okay, so let's do things more quickly. Just for it to be convenient, I will call it CIS remediation. Okay. I will look at the available signatures. Let's give it a demo, and then let's choose the NTP source loopback, just this one. And then I'll go and create a new job. Again, I can use the old one, but I just to better understand the process, I want to show you the process from scratch. So CIS remediation. Again, I'm choosing the CIS remediation. I'm activating the remediation now. Okay. Choosing the available devices, the router and the switch, and I will also implement a dynamic field. What is a dynamic field? Dynamic fields mean that if I want to fix this specific problem, I need to give some information. In this type of information, what is the interface number, the interface loopback number? I will say that I know that I have interface loopback 1, so I will put 1 here. And this information will be used to run the remediation. Okay, so let's run this. So let's look at the process, at the log when it actually happens. I'm connecting to the device, going to the write mode, checking first if I'm compliant or not. I know already that I'm not compliant, I get a result. Now what happens, because I activated the remediation sequence will start. And the remediation sequence is pretty simple here. Conf t, I'm remediating the problem by doing the NTP source loopback 1. And that's basically it. Connecting again to the device. Now I'm checking if I'm compliant or not. Okay, the result will be success. The message will be failure at the end. So let's talk about the process. The process with remediation is first running the signature and seeing if I'm compliant or not. In this use case, I failed. Okay, then I was running the remediation. And fixing the problem, and then the third item here is to run the check again. If I'm checking it and I see if I fix the problem or not. In the end, what I will see here is actually the first result. Why? Because we want to show you that you had a problem, okay, but in the end, it was fixed. For example, how do I see it? Let's go back to the report. And I will create a new report. Again, call it CIS remediation. I will choose one of the reports for IntelliChecks by device, available devices, Cisco router and Cisco switch. And the job will be the CIS remediation. Save this. Okay. So what I see here is that it actually looks the same, but what I have here to show that this specific signature was remediated. This specific compliance check that was failing was remediated. And in the end, I can have 100 devices that have, or 1,000 devices that had the same problem, and the NTP source wasn't set to loopback interface. I can remediate them in no time. I don't need to connect manually to each one of those. This is the powerful automation that we offer. Not only check what you have, but also remediate, solve the problems if we encounter them. Okay, so that's an example for remediation. For the last step, I would like to show you how easy it is to actually configure remediation. Okay, so I will not go into too much detail here about our customization engine. When you're doing customization in BackBox, or when you are creating an automation, you're using a web-based, GUI-based customization, and you can use our PS team, or you can do it by yourself and create remediations to issues. So let's do this. Let's go to IntelliChecks. And again, I will filter out the signatures. And I will use this one, secure server. Let's look at this. Again, connection issues. 1 second. Let's try to connect to another machine. IntelliChecks. Okay. So to create a remediation, first of all, one of the things that you saw is dynamic fields, right? I want, if somebody didn't say, you know, I would like to add maximum connection, you checked it and I need to add it. So what I would like to do is give the user the possibility to enter the number of maximum connections. So I create a field variable, I give it a field title, okay, a field type. There are also some options here, but let's move forward to the commands themselves. I would like to add a command. Okay, so let's say the first command will be configure terminal. I want to go into the right place. Then the command, and again, very simple. What I would like to do is just type in the commands that I would do manually to fix the problem. Okay, so max connections. I hope I don't have a typo. And the dynamic field that I created. And again, I would like to do things nicely. So I'll write end. And even will not forget to do a copy run start or save or write or whatever I would like. And that's it. Okay, it's like I went to the device, typed in, but the powerful thing here is that I can apply it to, you know, whatever number of devices that I want. So basically what I will need to do now is create a group. Let's do it quick. CIS remediation with customization. And signatures. This one, this is the signature. And we'll go to job, create a new job, give it the same name. IntelliCheck group. And remediation. Select the available devices. Dynamic fields, number of maximum connection. I'll give 10 minutes. Okay, so it's in minutes. And now let's run it. Let's see the process again. So connection to the device. I see that I'm not compliant. Connecting to the device, that's exactly what I wrote now. IP HTTP max connection, copy run start, connect again. This is the remediation that I wrote. And checking again. Now, I've got a good result, okay? And it's successful. Okay, so in the end, I know that this was remediated. Of course, I can, I can go and see again the result. Okay, the report, create a report like I did before. Let's use one that is already created. Choose the correct one. Oh, sorry, it didn't run on those devices. But anyway, let's see it from here. Okay, so those two were running and was remediated, right? Because we see the result here and the problem was remediated. That's it. Let's summarize the things that we can do with compliance assurance, running checks, getting results, choosing if I would like to run remediation. I can say I would like to run remediation for some of the signature, not for all of them. After running those, I would like to get a report. The report is saying, the problem was remediated. But in those use cases, when I would like to see if, when I don't have a remediation, I can easily create a remediation to fix a problem in my network. That's it. That concludes our demo. I think that we will go now for questions and answers if we have.
Yeah, thanks, Sanuk, for that. That was awesome. Thank you so much for that. There was a few questions that came through. First one asked, if I were to purchase a license for IntelliChecks, how long do you think it would take us to load it and get things set up to start working properly?
Great. So that's pretty easy. As soon as you've got a license for IntelliChecks, you can start using them. You can select the IntelliChecks that you would like to run. The compliance assurance IntelliChecks itself have some more self features that they can run. But if you want to run compliance assurance, you can go select, create a group, select the signatures, and immediately see a result. You can, of course, always contact our support and our professional services team, and they will help you choose what kind of IntelliChecks you want to run, customize new ones, customize remediation, whatever is needed to be 100% working in your environment, on the customer environment, and showing you what devices are compliant and what devices are not.
Great.
Good question. Yeah.
Another question is, how is BackBox different than Nipper and AlgoSec?
So basically, what we do in AlgoSec and any other solutions, those are more oriented, first of all, mostly through network devices, where BackBox, you saw here Cisco CIS devices, but we are very strong on security devices, checkpoint firewalls, Palo Alto firewalls, any kind of firewalls in the network, load balancers, whatever is out there. And we are working on the network administration part. We are dealing from policy from time to time, but we are an automation tool. What you saw here in the demo is one type of automation that we can do. If we want to go and you want to see what is the the difference between AlgoSec or any other type of tool, you need to see what the 100% capabilities that BackBox can do. Upgrade your devices to the latest version. Okay, your checkpoint firewalls to the latest version is not something that you can say that other competitors can do. A good disaster recovery, including restore procedure, asset management, customization of automation, all of those things are things that BackBox excel at and differentiate us from other tools.
Great. Another question came in. If I want to get notification, if the CPU usage reaches a certain level, the throughput reaches a certain level, or the HA status changes, can this, I assume, can IntelliChecks help monitor and report on this?
Yes, definitely. So as I said, you saw one thing, one feature that IntelliChecks can do. The other, and there are a few more things that you can do with IntelliChecks. One of them is what we call performance deviation or status changes. In this performance deviation, we go connect to your devices, check things like HA cluster, check things like CPU levels. We can alert you on specific thresholds, 70% CPU, something like this, but we even do better. We call it performance deviation because we start collecting this information and start some kind of machine learning on what your device behavior should be. So let's say at Wednesday at 9 a.m., I know between 9 to 10, I know that your CPU usage in your firewall is averaging for the last 6 months at 65%. Now, is 70% a problem? Probably not. So you would like to get the notification not only on specific threshold, but also on deviation from the average. And in this, what IntelliChecks can do, we definitely can go check deviation, let's say for 30%, okay, or something like this, and then say, okay, you are deviated 30% from the average, right? This is something that you would like to know. This is not a fail positive on a specific, CPU threshold, and that's definitely something that you can do with IntelliChecks.
Great. There was another question. I think it's similar to the CIS, but customers asking, would the process be the same for the checkpoint devices?
Yes, so any CIS benchmark or any other benchmarking or compliance that we have outside there, it's something that either we have predefined in BackBox and you can run it. So I saw, for the simplicity, I showed you CIS, but any other CIS for Cisco, but any other CIS for Checkpoint or for Palo Alto or PCI, for FortiGate or whatever, either you have it out of the box or we can work with you as a customer to build those checks into BackBox and to be able to run them repeatedly on your devices. So those are the two choices.
Awesome. There was a follow-up question is, could we share a link to that lists all of the capabilities of BackBox?
Yeah, so definitely. Anyone that asked, we'll get someone to send you this, no problem. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do a follow-up on that. And then last question is, I looked in BackBox and I don't see an upgrade for my Aruba 2930F switches. How can I add this? Great question. So any task that you would like to run, like upgrading an Aruba, okay? So probably you went and saw that you have an upgrade for Cisco iOS, iOS XE, Checkpoint devices cluster or not, Palo Alto, FortiGate, Juniper, SRX, and so on.
If you don't see something in the list, what you need to do is contact our support team, and they will connect with you, see the process of upgrading the Aruba that you need, and upgrade it, and create the customization, create the automation for you. So that's easily done. That's something that we do all the time.
All right. I think that's good. Those are all the questions I had in the queue. Hanuk, again, thank you so much for your time today. That was great information.
Thanks, everyone.
As always, feel free to check us out at backbox.com. And if you do have any questions, feel free to let us know. Support@backbox.com.